Thinking back to my childhood, there was always one memory that held a really special place in my heart. I think it was like in 4th or 5th grade, we had a project to design a board game, and I remember creating the board, drawing the brightly colored paths, and picking which spots had the special icons. Those icons then, when you landed on them, would allow you to draw a card, and then those cards would give you special abilities, or they would make you go forward some amount of spaces, or back, or move to specific spots on the board. And I think this was a moment that I didn't realize would be such a precious memory to me now. Now that in 2026, I would be a co-designer of an actual board game. Well, it's not really a board game, but more so an expansion character for a board game. So let me take you guys on a little journey back to 2024. Now, starting off this journey, it's pretty important to mention that I have been really good friends with Daryl Andrews. He is most well known for designing Sagrada, but he's also designed a plethora of other games. And Daryl has always mentioned to me that he would love to co-design something together in the future. And on February 6th of 2024, that was the day that Daryl actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted to co-design a character for Mythwind, which, if you guys have seen the channel before, Mythwind has been one of those games that I have really enjoyed. It has been a really big part of my solo gaming journey and really bringing my love of cozy video games into my love of cozy board games. And so the moment I saw this message, I told Daryl that I would love to co-design with him, and that is when this all started. We started designing and initially just started with some general brainstorming of the game. We wanted to really think about what the character represented, the backstory of this character that we were creating, and what we wanted the vibes of this character to be. And me being the board game garden, being a lover of plants, also being a huge fan of like witchy things and brewing potions and stuff like that, the list of different characters started to form with the botanist, the herbalist, the doctor, the witch, the wizard, all of these different characters that we were thinking about. And on top of brainstorming the character and the vibes of the character, we also were brainstorming at the same time different mechanisms and different kind of play styles that would work really well with the types of characters that we were thinking. So when we were going along the lines of a botanist and an herbalist, I was thinking personally that it'd be really cool to be able to go out into the forest. The forest in Mythwind is a big part of the game, so being able to be a character that actually goes outside of the town and goes into the forest was a really cool thought in my head and something that I thought would go really well with the rest of the characters, but also bring in a different character that was a little bit more independent and just a character that would want to go off on his or her own and just explore the forest. And that really did end up shaping the character that we ended up creating. We ended up going with the herbalist, and this really went well with the mechanism that we were thinking about as well, which was card layering and exploration, a little bit of resource collection, as well as a touch of push your luck, which both Daryl and I thought would be a really fun balance to the other mechanisms. Moving more into the design process, I personally really wanted to bring in a lot of the aspects of games that I really enjoy, and so I wanted the herbalist to feel almost a little bit like a mini Euro game. So we had the card layering as well as the resource collection, resource management, but then I also wanted to bring in different upgrades that you could use for the herbalist to kind of upgrade her different abilities and her tools in order to do what she does best, which was going out into the forest and exploring and collecting and different things like that. So I really wanted to bring in some upgrades. I also really wanted to bring in a little bit of a Sudoku-esque puzzle, which is kind of how the greenhouse was created. So with the greenhouse, Daryl actually mentioned that there was a game that way back in, I think it was 1986, there was a game called Casino Yahtzee, which had a little bit of that Sudoku aspect of collecting or placing chips in different rows and columns in order to complete these different rows and columns, and that really did inspire us a lot for the greenhouse. And collecting those ingredients and then putting them into the different rows and columns in order to brew these specific potions and elixirs. And speaking of potions and elixirs, this character is the herbalist, but Daryl and I really did chat a lot about the story behind the herbalist and the character, and we really wanted there to be a little bit of like a question of, is the herbalist just an herbalist, or is there a little bit of a touch of magic and maybe a witchy vibe to her? She is out in the forest quite often alone, and she has a big connection to the forest and the sprites. And so there's this question of, is the herbalist a witch? But moving on to the next step of the process, it was time for an actual physical prototype, and also different things to add into TTS, which is Tabletop Simulator. It is a great way to playtest your games remotely and really play it often without actually having the physical components in front of you. And this was a part of the process that I personally really enjoyed. As someone that went to school and did a lot of work on InDesign and on the computer with graphics and stuff, I personally had a really fun time with this. Also, printing out the different components to make a physical prototype. It kind of felt a little bit like a craft project, which I just had so much fun with. So I worked on the graphics, sent those graphics over to OpenOwl, and then also printed those graphics off for a little physical prototype for myself to play. And this is when the process and just the concept of creating a game really became real to me, because this was the point where I was able to sit down and actually physically play out the gameplay of the herbalist. And to my surprise, everything worked very, very well. I was fully expecting for things to have to be tweaked, major things to be changed, but really just here and there I had to tweak some small things, nothing crazy, and the gameplay really did work, and it was fun to really see what Daryl and I created conceptually on paper to become this physical game. Was such a cool process to experience. Around this time in the process, there were many meetings chatting about the design, how we could make it better, paring the design down a little bit for better production, and how to better save the forest. This was a big part of it, because in our initial design, we had it that you could actually go out and explore a bunch of different forests. So there were 5 different forests that you could go and explore, so we did have to pare that down a little bit. So after about 10 months of us working on this design together and really finalizing what we wanted the herbalist to be, December 1st came around, and that was the date that we had to kind of submit our finalized design to OpenOwl. Throughout the development process of the character, I kept up communication with OpenOwl, and it finally led to this final piece of the puzzle, and that is receiving the final pre-production copy of the herbalist. Hello friends, what is up? It has been quite a long time since I last filmed specifically for this video that I'm going to be creating, but I have the most exciting package here that I have had sitting on my table for a while that I have been really wanting to open, but I wanted to open it with you guys here on camera because this is literally everything that I have done in this video has been leading up to, because this is a prototype pre-production copy of the expansion, which is just crazy, and I've been wanting to open this. This is crazy. I got the first one. This is the other character, which is the Shepard. This is designed by Nikki Valens. They were doing the design on this. And then... It's so crazy. This is wild to see. We have... Oh my goodness. The herbalist. My queen. the Herbalist. Oh my goodness. It's crazy to see your name on a board game box. This is crazy. This is crazy. And the really, really awesome thing is I thought up this character of the Herbalist, and as Daryl and I were kind of designing the gameplay of this, we really actually talked a lot about the character of the Herbalist and just like her personality and stuff, and I really felt like we were creating this character within the gameplay, and to see her and to see what, or like to think of what I had in my mind, like the vision of what she would look like, and the fact that like it literally aligns perfectly with kind of the vision that I had for her. And I actually kind of want to show you guys. I was going through my photos, and literally I have like saved photos from, I don't even know when it was. It was obviously before they like created the art. All right, so I found the pictures, and this was back in October of 2024. I was just kind of doing some brainstorming of what I like envisioned the character to look like. And we have like this picture here. I really wanted her to have like a really cool clothing style and just wear a lot of colors. And I also envisioned her having like long gray hair. And so all of these different pictures were what I envisioned for the character. Honestly, kind of wanted her to have tattoos. I don't think she does have any tattoos. But you know, we can imagine that maybe she has tattoos in places that you can't see with her outfit. But yeah, I love the way she looks. It really just shows off the character that I had in mind and the character that Daryl and I kind of built together. So, oh, there's even a mini. Oh my goodness. She has like a little base that she like pops into. Oh my god, so stinking cute. We got a little mini, which actually, let me put this up here as well. So we do also have the Shepard. I actually don't know anything about like the gameplay of the Shepard, so I'm super excited to dive into this one as well. All right, so we have all of the ingredient cubes. Oh, cute. There's 5 different colors of ingredients. There's like gems and plants and mushrooms and like animal parts. That kind of sounds gross. And then there's also berries too. So there's the 5 different colors of these ingredient cubes. We have the Herbalist journal. This is so crazy. What the heck? There's the research cubes, which you do have to take cubes off in order to then gather ingredients, because in our minds of this design, she wants to go out into the forests and she wants to do research on these different ingredients before she actually collects them, because you don't want to just collect something from the wilderness that you don't know about, because obviously they might be poisonous and you shouldn't, you know, touch things that you don't know things about. So yes, we have some punch outs here, which I'm not gonna punch them out quite yet. We have this here, which I think on the other side, yes. So basically with this character, you can on your turn decide to go to town or to the forest, because you're going to be going out into the forest, exploring the forest, doing all that. So you have those spots on there. You have the Grove, Woodland, and Deep Forest. So it looks like you are going into just one forest, which I believe is, I'm assuming, like one tray. Yeah, so you have a little tray. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. So initially with Daryl and I's design, we had that you could go out and explore 2 of the 6 forests at a time. So you would have a tray like this. at 2 of the 6 locations around the main board, but kind of keeping it down to just having one forest that you're exploring, and you're going to be able to then like save the game a little bit easier. The big part of the game is that you're going to be like connecting sides together of the same color in order to then collect that certain ingredient. So each of these different tiles, you're going to be able to be placing them down and kind of having this spatial puzzle of exploring this forest. Ooh, I'm just so excited. This is so cool. Oh, this is sick. Oh my goodness. So fun. So we have this here as well, which this was a really fun part of the game to design. This is the greenhouse, and this is where you're going to be bringing your different ingredients into, and then you're trying to ultimately complete rows and columns in order to brew these different potions and elixirs. And oh, this is so cool to like see on a punch out. Like, I actually just want to show you guys because I think I have it in here. I also need to find the prototype, but like I have the book here. I will show you guys. I have like these cards, which was the initial kind of plan to have them be like cards like this. You shuffle up the deck of cards, and then depending on what forest you go to, you would then, you know, draw from that pile. So you have like the different illustrations here. The first ever illustration of the greenhouse here. Super cool. It's just crazy to me. Cause like I've always been on the other side of like seeing a board game and just thinking like where this game was initially, and just like what goes on in a person's head to go from like nothing to a full-on game. And just to see like what Daryl and I did, and then see it in its like not final form, but pretty close to final form, I just think it is the wildest thing. I actually really want to find my prototype now so I can show you guys kind of the differences. I finally found it, and I should have known it was where it was. This is actually my like prototyping container, which I like just recently kind of started to put together, which I figured I might as well show you guys while we're here. And also I have some stuff to add to it. So this is my little prototype suitcase. I do want to eventually like label things, but this is the prototype of the Herbalist right here. So I'll show you guys that in a second, which you kind of saw me making it in this video, but yeah, I have that. But I do have one empty one here. But basically like I have random dice and dry erase markers, which I do believe I have these dice here that I can add into here, just in case I need some dice for a potential future prototype. And then I have like bags. I have this like random player tokens, some more random player tokens, actually from a prototype of another Open Owl Studio game called Sprites and Sprouts. I have that. We have some like little gate things from the Stone Spine Architects prototype. Got some gems. Got some like disc tokens. Got a bunch of workers. Got some like different resources and stuff. Some more different like coins and resources. Some more resources, specifically resources from Concordia, because I got some like different resources for Concordia. Got a bunch of random resources, some tokens, and some discs. Also cubes. So yeah, once I'm finished with this video, I am gonna put a bunch of these into the specific token containers that they need to go into. But as for the little prototype here, I mainly want to show you guys the kind of before of of the greenhouse. So this is kind of what it looked like. So I kind of measured the like board that typically would be in the tray of each character, and it was around this size. So I put that here. You guys can see that it's slightly different. I think we ended up turning it to be this direction or this direction instead of this direction. So it took up more space here. I figured like we could add some stuff here, but we did need to make sure that there was space in between all of these different punch outs for the cubes so that like you could allow for art and to make sure that like everything was, you know, able to be read and seen well on here. So that's actually so crazy to me that like they're so different, yet you can like see where it came from and what it is now. So cool, so cool. And then, oh my goodness, all of the cards. I actually have the prototype cards of these as well. So you have an upgradable backpack. So you start with like a starter backpack, which then you kind of have to level up to a small backpack, and then a medium backpack, large backpack, and then you have the leather backpack and then the large leather backpack. But there is also the boots. So you have the starting boots that you're allowed to move 2 spaces, but as you upgrade the boots, it allows you to move more spaces, but then you're also allowed to move additional spaces based off of something else. So initially there was like sprinklers, but I think they have changed that into possibly the spade. But you have like starting sprinkler, better sprinkler, and then you have the boots here. So you have starting boots, hiking boots, magic boots, steel toe boots. Like I said, you have the backpack upgrades. So this was my initial little starting backpack, and then you upgrade to the small backpack. Oh my goodness. It's crazy to see, again, like where it started and where it is now. I am so excited to jump in to playing this. It is pretty late right now, so I'm actually gonna, I think, just take the Herbalist journal and I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm just gonna read over the rules, see what kind of small changes they've made, and I will probably jump into playing this tomorrow night because I am just way too excited for this. So yeah, this was crazy. This was exciting. Thank you all so much for being here and for following along on this journey of me designing my first ever board game. A huge shout out to Daryl. Thank you so much for being the most amazing partner and allowing me to take this kind of first step into designing board games. I never thought that this would be something that I would do. I never thought that I would literally have this box here that had my name on it. Why am I getting emotional? I don't know. But thank you so much. You made this experience wonderful, and this is wild. Thank you so much to Open Owl Studios for, you know, allowing me to do this and allowing me to work with Daryl. Being someone that had never designed a game before, but it was something that I always wanted to do. It was so nice to have people that were on my side and were there cheering me on and kind of allowing me to, you know, try something that I'd never done before. And I hope you guys love this character, the Herbalist. She means a lot to me, and yeah. Be sure to go and check out the campaign for this. Open Owl Studios will be dropping the 2 new character expansions. Also, be sure to check out The Shepard. I do want to check that one out as well from Nikki. Be sure to go and check out the campaign. I believe it is dropping on January 27th, so go and check it out if you guys enjoy Mythwind and want some new characters. If you have been interested in Mythwind, they will also have it available. And yeah, if you want to support me and see what this character is all about, I would appreciate it so, so much. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today and coming along on this adventure of designing my first ever board game / board game expansion. If you guys enjoyed, please give this video a big thumbs up. Also, hit the subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Also, comment down below if you are excited about the new Mythwind characters, the Herbalist, the Shepard. Definitely go and check out the campaign if you are interested. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends.